Bringing Up Bates Fans Shayosiki by Ellie Bates Behavior. The Bates family, known from the hit reality show Bringing Up Bates, has long maintained an image of unity, tradition, and strong faith. As part of this large and much-loved clan, Ellie Bates has mostly stayed under the radar compared to some of her older siblings. However, in recent weeks, Ellie has suddenly become the subject of intense discussion among fans, and not for reasons anyone would have expected. Social media and fan forums have lit up with commentary, opinions, and even speculation regarding Ellie's recent behavior. From subtle personality shifts to more visible lifestyle choices, longtime followers of the Bates family are expressing surprise and in some cases concern. Some have even described her actions as shocking, considering the conservative standards the Bates family has historically followed. This wave of attention has turned Ellie, previously one of the quieter siblings, into an unexpected headline maker within the extended world of reality TV fandom. At just 17 years old, Ellie Bates is stepping out of the shadow of her older siblings and forming her own identity. Viewers first met her as a cheerful and reserved young girl in the early seasons of Bringing Up Bates. Over the years, her appearances have reflected the family's traditional values: modest clothing, respectful behavior, and a strong connection to her faith. But as she edges closer to adulthood, Ellie is beginning to define her own personality, and that evolution is becoming increasingly visible to fans. As she grows up in the public eye, any personal change or deviation from expectations is immediately noticed, and that's precisely what seems to have happened. Several recent posts on social media and appearances alongside her siblings have caused followers to wonder, is Ellie Bates breaking away from the mold? One of the most noticeable changes has been Ellie's presence on social media. While many of her siblings, especially the older ones, maintain a highly curated and faith-driven online presence, Ellie's recent posts have surprised many with their tone and content. Though nothing inappropriate has been shared, her selfies, clothing choices, and captions have a slightly more casual, even trendy vibe compared to the traditional modesty expected from someone raised in the Bates household. Some of her followers were quick to point out makeup, accessories, and outfits that align more with mainstream teen fashion than the modest, ultra-conservative wardrobe many expect from a Bates daughter. While it's common for teenagers to explore style and self-expression, fans who have closely followed the family for years reacted strongly, citing this as a dramatic departure from what they anticipated. This subtle yet significant evolution in Ellie's presentation has sparked conversation about whether she is simply growing up in the digital age or actively distancing herself from the family's well-known standards. Fan communities, particularly those on Reddit, Facebook, and Instagram, have responded with a mix of surprise, curiosity, and criticism. Some are quick to defend Ellie, reminding others that teenagers grow, change, and explore new facets of identity, especially when trying to differentiate themselves in a large family. Others, however, worry that Ellie might be straying too far from the values her family has built its image upon. One fan commented, "She just seems different lately. It's not bad, just very unexpected. I always thought she was the quiet, sweet one, and now it feels like she's going through a major change." Another said, "This is what happens when you shelter your kids too much. Eventually, they push back." Still, others took a more supportive approach. "Let Ellie grow up. She's still respectful and kind. She's just figuring herself out." What makes these reactions even more intense is the high level of emotional investment fans have in the Bates family. Viewers have watched Ellie grow up for more than a decade, and changes in her behavior feel personal to many. Speculation has also grown around the idea that Ellie might be taking cues from her older sisters, who have moved away from the more rigid aspects of the family's lifestyle. Several Bates daughters, including Alyssa, Carlin, and Josie, have taken a more modern approach to fashion, family life, and social media. Their shift has already caused a stir among traditionalist fans, and some believe Ellie may be following a similar path. These older siblings have paved the way for more individual expression while still maintaining strong ties to their upbringing. Could Ellie be inspired by this? If so, it may explain some of the changes that fans are now witnessing. It's not uncommon for younger siblings to look up to their older sisters and adopt certain behaviors or perspectives. On the other hand, some fans believe Ellie is reacting to the increasing pressure and expectations placed on the younger members of the family. With the show no longer in production and the family no longer in the public spotlight in the same way, perhaps Ellie feels freer to explore her personal choices without as much direct scrutiny from production crews or a TV network. As of now, Gil and Kelly Jo Bates have not made any public comment regarding the attention Ellie is receiving. This is not unusual, as the parents typically avoid addressing individual controversies related to their children unless absolutely necessary. Their parenting style has always focused on encouragement, guidance, and a firm belief in letting their children make faith-based decisions as they mature. The family's silence has left fans to interpret Ellie's actions in their own ways, creating a vacuum where theories and assumptions flourish. Whether or not the Bates parents are concerned, supportive, or indifferent remains unknown, and that uncertainty only fuels the ongoing buzz. Some fans have speculated that Ellie may be seeking her own identity beyond the family's brand. With many of her siblings married, running businesses, or living in different states, Ellie may be entering a new chapter where she is making choices independently for the first time. Unlike the early years of the show, where family decisions were often made as a unit, the current reality is quite different. Each child is increasingly carving out their own space. For Ellie, that might mean embracing trends, developing different hobbies, and being more open to expressing herself in ways that don't always align with the family's traditional image. Whether this includes changes in belief systems or lifestyle choices is unknown, but it's clear she's on a personal journey. It's important to remember that Ellie is still a teenager. At 17, exploring fashion, music, social media, and independence is part of the natural growing up process. For any other teen, her actions would be considered completely normal, even unremarkable. But for someone with a public platform and ties to a famously conservative family, even small changes attract major attention. Some fans have pointed out the double standard. If Ellie weren't a Bates, would anyone think twice about her actions? This perspective encourages a more empathetic and supportive view of her choices, rather than labeling them as controversial or rebellious. Being part of a famous family brings its own unique challenges. Every move is monitored, commented on, and critiqued. Ellie's situation highlights the pressure that public figures, especially those born into reality TV, face in trying to balance personal growth with public expectations. For Ellie, the road ahead will likely involve more personal decisions that fans may or may not agree with. But ultimately, she is navigating the same coming-of-age path that millions of other teenagers are. The only difference is that she's doing it under the scrutiny of thousands of eyes. As Ellie approaches adulthood, fans are watching closely to see where her path leads. Will she continue to adopt a more independent identity? Will she pursue further education, work, or possibly even a public platform of her own? Will her current behavior be a phase of exploration, or the start of a more permanent shift in how she wants to be seen? Regardless of what the future holds, it's clear that Ellie Bates is at a turning point, one that may define her life outside the shadows of a well-known reality show. For fans, the most surprising part might not be her behavior itself, but how much they care about the journey she takes. As the public continues to weigh in, perhaps the best approach is one of patience, understanding, and grace, recognizing that change is not only inevitable but necessary for growth. Ellie Bates may still be young, but she's clearly learning to step into her own identity. Whether that matches the expectations of her past or sets new ones for her future, time will tell. For now, the best thing observers can do is watch respectfully as Ellie continues to grow, learn, and define who she wants to be, on her terms. Bringing up Bates, Lawson blasted for using Tiffany Espenson as a prop. The Bringing Up Bates family has long been a topic of public fascination. With their large household, strong Christian values, and presence on reality TV, the Bates family quickly earned a fan base that extended beyond the show. However, as each of the Bates children grows up, marries, and starts their own life, scrutiny has increased, not just for their beliefs, but for how they handle personal relationships in the public eye. Recently, Lawson Bates has found himself at the center of online criticism, with many accusing him of using his wife, actress Tiffany Espenson, as a mere prop to further his own image and career ambitions. This controversy has opened up a broader discussion among fans and critics about authenticity, media manipulation, and the challenges of maintaining a personal identity in a public relationship. While some remain supportive of the couple, others are raising serious questions about their dynamic and Lawson's intentions. Lawson Bates, known for his music career and role as one of the older Bates siblings, married Tiffany Espenson in 2022. Tiffany, an actress with a Hollywood background and a more modern outlook, was seen as a unique match for Lawson, who comes from a very traditional and conservative background. From the beginning, their relationship played out largely in the public eye, through social media posts, YouTube videos, and interviews. The couple documented nearly every milestone: their engagement, wedding planning, honeymoon, and even their first year of marriage. Fans who followed the Bates family were thrilled to see Lawson find love and admired Tiffany for her poise and charm. However, as time went on, not everyone remained enamored with their picture-perfect portrayal. While their joint posts initially seemed authentic, some fans began to sense a growing imbalance, where Tiffany was increasingly portrayed in ways that served Lawson's public persona more than celebrating her individuality. The criticism began as subtle observations. Viewers noted how often Lawson's social media posts revolved around his own ventures, such as his music or appearances, while Tiffany often featured silently by his side. Commenters questioned whether Tiffany's identity and career aspirations were being overshadowed by Lawson's pursuits. Things escalated when Lawson began sharing more content that appeared to place Tiffany in staged or heavily curated scenarios that seemed to reinforce a supportive wife image. This framing sparked debate, with some accusing Lawson of treating Tiffany as more of an accessory than a partner. On Reddit and other fan forums, comments such as "Tiffany looks like a photo prop in Lawson's staged life," and "Does she even get a say?" began circulating. Others pointed out that while Tiffany rarely posts about her own life or passions anymore, Lawson's platforms are filled with images and messages that seem focused on self-promotion. One user bluntly stated, "Lawson's using her to upgrade his image. She's got that Hollywood background, the modern charm, and it makes him look relevant. But where is Tiffany in all of this?" Despite the negative buzz, the couple still maintains a base of loyal fans who argue that the criticism is unfair. Many believe that the public only sees curated moments and shouldn't make assumptions about the deeper aspects of their relationship. Supporters highlight that Tiffany has willingly participated in content creation, attends events with Lawson, and often appears smiling and engaged in videos. Some claim that if Tiffany had an issue with how she's portrayed, she wouldn't participate at all. Furthermore, fans have pointed out that the nature of celebrity couples often involves navigating the public eye and projecting a brand. In that context, what Lawson and Tiffany are doing is not unusual. Couples in both entertainment and influencer circles regularly collaborate to promote projects or reinforce their image. One fan commented, "They're just doing what everyone else does on social media. It doesn't mean he's using her." Another added, "Tiffany is smart. She wouldn't let herself be used if she didn't want to be part of it." In the face of mounting criticism, Lawson and Tiffany have not directly addressed the backlash. This silence has fueled speculation. Some interpret their decision to remain quiet as a sign that the criticism may have struck a nerve. Others believe they're simply choosing to take the high road by not feeding into online drama. The couple continues to post as usual, sharing updates about their travels, projects, and family moments. Lawson's music continues to be promoted alongside images of him and Tiffany. The tone of their content hasn't shifted drastically, which may suggest that they are either unaware of the controversy or consciously ignoring it. One of the more concerning issues raised by critics is the perceived loss of Tiffany's individual identity. Before her relationship with Lawson, she had carved out her own space as a young actress, with credits in projects such as Spider-Man, Homecoming, and Kirby Buckets. However, in recent months, her personal ambitions and career updates have taken a back seat. This shift has led some to question whether Tiffany has been encouraged, intentionally or otherwise, to abandon her own goals in favor of supporting her husband's public brand. Critics argue that this fits a wider pattern observed among some women who marry into the Bates family, where traditional gender roles are often emphasized. One particularly viral comment stated, "She used to be an actress with her own voice. Now she's just the wife in the background." Another echoed the sentiment, "We don't even know what she wants anymore. It's always about Lawson." On the other hand, others have pointed out that Tiffany may have willingly stepped away from acting to focus on other aspects of life, including faith, family, or new passions that aren't public yet. Just because those aspects aren't visible online doesn't mean they aren't important to her personally. The controversy surrounding Lawson and Tiffany taps into broader themes about marriage, gender roles, and online representation, especially within religious or conservative circles. In families like the Bates, where traditional values are core to their identity, it's not unusual for women to be seen supporting their husbands in prominent ways. Critics argue that such roles can sometimes diminish women's voices and make their presence feel performative. Supporters counter that if both partners are happy with their roles, outsiders shouldn't interfere or project their expectations onto them. The online debate has thus moved beyond Lawson and Tiffany alone, morphing into a cultural conversation. Is it inherently problematic for a husband to spotlight his career with his wife by his side? Or is the real issue when the wife's own individuality is diminished in the process? Some viewers are asking whether the Bates family dynamic encourages these kinds of relationships by design, especially since similar dynamics have been observed in other Bates marriages. As of now, there is no indication that the criticism has affected Lawson and Tiffany's public behavior. They continue to present a united front and seem committed to sharing their lives with their followers. Whether or not the concerns raised will lead to any change remains uncertain. What's clear is that fans, whether supportive or critical, are deeply invested in the lives of the Bates family and its members. The intense interest, both positive and negative, is a byproduct of living in the spotlight. As long as Lawson and Tiffany maintain their presence online, they will likely remain under public scrutiny. Time will tell whether the narrative surrounding their relationship shifts again. For now, Lawson finds himself under fire from a vocal segment of the fanbase, while Tiffany remains a figure of both admiration and concern, admired for her grace, yet scrutinized for how visible or invisible she appears in her own life.